Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to members, officers, press, and public joining tonight for the local government. The meeting is being live streamed on YouTube. Welcome to everyone. Our officers are joining this evening's meeting via Zoom. For those joining by Zoom, please mute your microphone. I'll now ask the members of the committee and officers to introduce themselves. Starting on my left.
Mujibur Rahman, Councillor for Grinstead East.
Dina Hussain, Councillor for Gloucester West and Kennington East.
Councillor Salim Patel from Manor Park Ward.
Councillor Mahmood Mirza, Bolian Ward, Leader of the Opposition, Newham Council.
Right.
I am Liz Cronin, Councillor for Foxgate.
East Council. Councillor Mahmood East. Councillor Saeed Bashar, Little.
Thank you very much. And to my right, officers in the room.
Ross Harvey, Principal Planner and Newham Council.
Eric Pang, Planning Officer in the Council.
Saying that it's Newham Council.
And officers online.
I'm Jane Constance. I'm the Director of Planning and Development. And sorry, I'm not there. I've got COVID.
Then.
And Alex O'Dwyer, Solicitor.
Thank you very much. I want to remind members that when a vote is taken, it will be by way of raising your hands in order that we can capture this on screen. Agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you very much. So item 1, you've got apologies. I've had apologies from Councillor Somali and Councillor Anthony McCormack. Please. Okay, thank you very much. Item 2 is minutes of the last meeting. So can we all review the minutes from the meeting that was held on the 16th of July? For those with pages, it's page 11. So, 11. 12, 13. I didn't attend that meeting, so those who were in attendance, if you believe that those were accurate minutes?
Yeah, could I just say I'm recorded as apologies in the minute was there over someone, so does that count as apologies?
Apologies online?
I'm not here joined by thanks.
That will be notes that you attended online. Are we all agreed for the minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I agree. Declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest for this item or any items to be discussed tonight? None. Okay. Item 4 is election of vice chair. This is one that we've foregoed because due to training matters, but are there any nominations for vice chair?
Chair, I would like to nominate Councillor Sabia Kamali. She's absent today because she's not well. She was the vice chair. That's why I would like to nominate her again if members happy.
Second.
Okay. So we've got Councillor Sabia Somali. Are there any other nominations? None. Okay. And do we agree that Sabia Kamali will be the vice chair of the local development committee?
Agreed.
Okay, Sabia Kamali is now elected the deputy vice chair of the deputy chair of the committee. Item 5 is determining planning applications. Members are asked to note the advice from the head of legal services on determining planning applications. Members are asked to receive and consider the update report that was circulated earlier today. Is that noted?
Note.
Thank you very much. So item 6, announcements from the chair. I have one item to request to the committee. The committee has received the following request to address the committee tonight. Would the speakers please identify themselves when I call out your name? So item 6, which is the only item, we've got Mifta Ahmed.
I'll do myself.
Thank you very much. You're the agent. And Zain Mia, local community worker. Thank you very much. The usual practice is to allow up to 5 minutes in total for both supporters and objectors. Is that agreed? Thank you. So can we agree the remainder of the business tonight outlined in the agenda? Simple agree stated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So can we now move to item 6, which is 269 High Street South, East Ham?
Thank you, Chair. So this is item 6, which is a section 73 applications for previous planning permission at 269 High Street South. The application site is a mid-terrace ground floor education institute and community center with a upper floor C3 residential flat. The site is located outside a designated town center, local center, or community facility opportunity area. The site is surrounded by 2-story terrace buildings with ground floor commercial units and upper floor residential units. This is a street image of the site. This application has been made to vary condition 4 of the planning permission 19/00395/full dated 25th June 2019. The application is to extend the hours of operation from 9 AM to 11 PM from Monday to Saturday, and 9 AM to 10 PM on Sunday and bank holidays, to 4 AM to 11 PM from Monday to Sunday, including bank holidays. An application made under Section 73 of the Town and Country Planning Act 1990 can be used to make material amendments by varying or removing conditions associated with a planning permission. There is no statutory limit on the degree of change permissible to conditions under Section 73, but the change must only be related to the conditions. Condition 4. There are some restrictions to Section 73 applications, which are that it cannot be used to extend the 3-year time limit or introduce changes that would result in the description of the development being altered. To confirm, this scheme has already commenced within 3 years, 25th of June 2019, and the proposed amendments would not alter the existing use as an education institute and community center. So these are the key considerations of the proposed amendments, which are the principle of the development, impacts to neighboring amenities, and sustainable transport. So in terms of principle of development, planning permission was granted for the change of use from a restaurant to a community center, and the principle of the development was established under the original applications and remain unchanged in this application. In terms of impacts to neighboring amenities, the surrounding area is predominantly characterized by a mix of terrace residential properties with established commercial units on ground floor level, including restaurants, hot food takeaway, and retail units, and a number of which open late in the evening. Having looked into the hours of operation of the adjacent ground floor commercial units, it is acknowledged that there is a convenience store at 275 High Street South with a similar start time at 5 AM. However, the store closes early at 9 PM. Officers therefore consider that this is not to be comparative to the proposed operation hour, particularly as the early opening time of the convenience store at 5 AM is mitigated by the early closing time at 9 PM. It is also suggested by the applicants that the entry and exit during the early morning sessions will be supervised to minimize noise and ensure safety. However, a detailed management plan has not been submitted with the application. Considering it would start at 4 AM and earlier than any of the surrounding commercial units, the activities, particularly the receipt and unloading of the deliveries, would therefore likely to result in noise and disturbance with the increase coming and going at the early morning to the neighboring properties, particularly to the upper floor residential units within the terrace and the residential occupants on the opposite side of High Street South. In addition, the proposed operation hours would extend until 11 PM in the evening, 7 days a week, further impacting the neighboring properties during the nighttime hours. Officers noted that the extended operating hours to both the early morning and the late evening would result in a closure of only 5 hours, 7 days a week. Noting the application site is not located within any designated town center and it's within a predominantly residential area, the extended operating hours would significantly impact the amenity of the neighboring properties. Following concerns raised by officers, a supporting statement was received on the 15th of September, providing some clarifications on the proposed morning sessions. It states that the participants, the morning sessions would be between 15 to 20 people, and food deliveries would be limited to 1 small van per day and scheduled no earlier than 4 AM. Officers consider the clarification would not overcome the concerns raised with regard to the impact to the neighboring amenity. But the deliveries at 4 AM together with 15 to 20 participants alongside with the staff member arriving to the application site in the early morning would result in unacceptable noise disturbance to the predominantly residential area. The proposal is not supported in relation to impacts to neighboring amenity. The proposed extended operating hours in the early morning and the late night is considered not to result in a significant increase in the parking stress of the public highway. Noting the participants are living within a walking distance and the survey provided in the previous applications demonstrated that most of the participants would walk to the site or use public transport. The proposal would have a similar arrangement compared to the current operating hours. As such, any impacts in this respect would be minimal. The proposal would therefore be considered acceptable strictly with regard to sustainable transport. In conclusion, the local development committee is asked to resolve to planning permission for the reasons set out on page 18 of the committee report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric. Before I let any questions come to you, I want to go now to the speakers tonight. So we've got Mifta and Zain. Are you both speaking in support?
Yes, I'm the agent.
The agent, okay. And I will give you a combined 5 minutes. Combined, yeah. I think you're both speaking in favour.
Okay, we were told we would each have 5 minutes, but I think we can work with 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, chairs, are you?
I can propose that, because this is the committee application, and if we got 2 speakers, I think we should give them more than 5 minutes between them.
Is that seconded?
I second that.
Okay, that is taken. So you both have combined, sorry, you both have separate 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. Shall I go first?
Yeah, you can come forward.
The councillors. Thank you. My name is Mifta Ahmed from Cityscape Planning and for Architecture. And we're the agents dealing with this application and submission on behalf of Central Park Community Centre. I think I've been told that councillors may not have received copies of the letters of support that we received from neighbouring adjacent properties. If you haven't, we've got copies of the letters here. I'm going to
distribute it.
Distributed to councillors. I've also included the supporting statement with the clarification that is sent to the planning officer.
We can share that.
Liverpool.
Good evening, Chair, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today of our application. Before I begin, I'd like to say Eric, because they worked with us very well on this project, and even though they recommended approval, they worked with us very well. So, you came to my doctor today. Before I begin, I'd like to present I'd like to suggest or put forward two important amendments to the application. The initial application proposed extending the opening by 4 a.m. in the review. Before we came to this, and based on the feedback that the students would like to propose a revised opening hours, so instead of pushing it back to 4 a.m. We're proposing pushing it to 5 a.m. So basically, we have an hour. And secondly, we've been requested to say that the additional opening hours for the bank holiday Mondays, to remove that as well. So the request to extend the bank holiday would be eliminated. So it'd be Monday to Sunday to 5 a.m., not bank holidays. And those changes reflect our commitment to ensure that the will remain proportionate and effective in energy and align with the wider character of the area. The early morning opening is essential. The reason why we're seeking the early morning opening until 5 is to provide us with the opportunity to hold additional sessions, which the organization says would really benefit the local community. But the reason why we need it up to 5 a.m. is to allow staff time to prepare for the breakfast club and the adults exercise club that we're proposing. So the reason why we need it until 5 a.m. is this allows us the opportunity to distribute and serve food. You know that make sure the space is clean, safe, and as part of the session we're providing for the adults exercise club, we'll also be serving a light breakfast to participants of the exercise club, which begins shortly after the delivery. But it's also important to note that these sessions are quiet sessions, low impact activities, for example, yoga, stretching, those kind of activities, and have been introduced in response to requests from working residents who need early access to health and wellbeing services. In order to clarify, I know there were some issues regarding delivery, so we wanted to clarify the delivery arrangements. These will now be carried out by actually a member of staff rather than a separate delivery company, and they will be using their own vehicle. The volume of goods that they'll be delivering is going to be very small, almost akin to, for example, a daily household shopping trip, because the maximum number of attendees, as we set out in our supporting statement, for the adult exercise club is 15 people. And for the children early morning breakfast club, I think we suggested 20 or 25 people maximum. So you can imagine if you're doing daily deliveries, we're not expecting big deliveries, we're expecting deliveries akin to, like I said, daily shop. In terms of getting the goods out of the car into the premises, it would literally involve a single trip.
5 seconds.
Oh, from the car to the facility and will take around 5 minutes. There will be no commercial deliveries, and there will be people costs, and the process will be managed discreetly and efficiently.
I'll have to call time. It's 5 minutes for you. Thank you. And Zane, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, committee, for allowing me to speak in support of this application. I did write something down, but I'm going to unscript it because just before coming here, I was reading a report from the BBC. It's there, and it talks about the lack of provision our children and adult services face in this borough. You know, I mean, many of us here, we're quite privileged in terms of how we get our provision. But I think many people within our borough, they fall short, and let's be honest with this, right? I've been privileged to have an upbringing where I could have breakfast, where I had activities many of you might know, Plashet Road One Love Centre provided me a safe haven to go to, play, grow up, and it was part of my upbringing. But in this borough at the moment, I do not see much facilities for our younger generation. The food poverty line in this borough is terrible. Sorry. Especially looking at Newham, our children have faced deprivation through food inequality. And this is what we're trying to provide, the service to the community. And this is all we asked for. I think the issue was, and I think the officers did help guide in terms of the 4 o'clock. And I think fair enough, this was moved to 5 o'clock. In terms of bank holiday, let's remove that. Deliveries, let's remove that. I also understand there's a shop in the corner in the parade that opens at 5 o'clock. I remember a long time ago, my father used to run a small newsagent, and the newspaper deliveries are done very early. But that's fine. I mean, if you guys say we can't have 4 o'clock, but I'd like to, this is why, you know, I thought, let's be fair, let's put it together and let's at least take it to 5 o'clock so we can make it easy for the officers, for the committee to make a decision. In this, Chair, how long do I have left?
You've got another 2.5 minutes.
Oh, thank you. I thought I spent too much time. Thanks, Chair. So let me just take you back a little bit. So during COVID, this was sort of passed during COVID or just before COVID. I thank to the council, to the committee for allowing this to take place, and it provided vital services. And just at the time when the committee needed, the community needed these services. For example, I remember, you know, many people came to that place when post-COVID as well, when they were mentally, even like myself, we were quite stressed, provided well-being, provided extra food to the community. The councillors also have used this for housing surgeries as well. And also council are proposing to use this facility for their services, and the local councillors, but you know, you're all welcome, officers, councillors, everybody. It's for the community to use. And this is what we say. But in terms of moving forward, we do really need this service in our community. We really need this. You're all welcome to come and see the work that they're doing. And you know, I don't know what else to say apart from saying, you know, within this borough, I think the inequality is very high. I know you guys are working really hard. You know, I know you guys very well as well, you know. But I think there's more facilities we can provide, and not only just with this centre, other centres, right? And we will need to work with officers. And officers ain't against us. Councillors, we're not against council. We all need to combine together. We need to work with officers, we need to work with councillors, we need to work with the committee. But importantly as well, we need to work with the community. This is so important. So this is the reason why I put down my scripted speech, and I thought I'll appeal to you guys and say, look, help us out. If there's any issues, even with anything that we mention, we can amend it, right? We can amend it, and we can work with the council. We can work with the officers. They've been helpful with their guidance as well. But I do really strongly feel we really need this service to provide to our community, our elderly, the children, and the community at large.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee.
Yep. And thank you both for your contributions. I'm sure it's been noted by councillors. We'll start with Councillor Mercer.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for giving me opportunity to speak. And thank you very much for your representation. And I'm going to speak in support of this application, because I do believe we need a community centre. As someone who runs a food bank every Saturday, I do need how many children goes hungry and how much is needed for the community. The Breakfast Club is a very good initiative. We do need a community spaces. We already have a very limited spaces. There are many community centers being closed in Newham. We need to encourage to have a more community spaces. And I do not agree with the officer's argument about the noises. And I've seen about 6 or 7 letters from the same building from the people living on the top of the flats, and they are happy to go ahead with this application. And looking at there's another shop who's already starting a business at 5 o'clock. They got permission from 5 o'clock, just a couple of doors away from that community center. So why discriminate one from the other? I understand you given, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's closing 9 o'clock, it's 2 hours extra. So since they have given an, proposal starting at 5 o'clock and closing on bank holidays, I will propose with the committee to accept this application without any condition. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Patel.
Thank you, Chair. My question, it's not a question, as Councillor Mahmood said, I think most of my colleagues will contribute as well. Thank you for the agent and the organizer. Officer, now the applicant have agreed to move the time from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, right? And I think this organization is running from 2020, July 2020. We haven't received any complaint particularly from this organization, from the neighboring. And seeing this supporting letter, I've not read all, but I've read few, but before got this letter, I've seen the, which page is that? This from the resident summary response from 269, 273, 267 and 4. And by looking this statement, I think the organization is doing excellent work for the community. If you see, I don't know whether officers have received me, but my fellow committee member have. This organization is running the women and toddler coffee morning. This organization is running for seniors aerobic class. This is we need in our community. Therefore, my request is, as they have shown a goodwill to work with us and move forward, they have accepted to change the time. Now they have canceled the bank holiday as well, so they're going to close on bank holiday as well. And I think the deliveries in the morning, I go to work and I catch the train 4 minutes past 5 from East Ham Station. And I walk through High Street Mall. I see so many deliveries coming in the morning. Some shops are open 24/7 on High Street, and the residents are living upstairs. But I never heard, while I'm walking as well, that they make too much noise. And to deliver parcel for 15 to 20 people, I don't think so is going to make too much noise. We offload our shopping from a front door to our house. Doesn't make any noise sometimes. We didn't realize that the guy is here to deliver the stuff. Therefore, my request is to the officer through chair that rather than, I don't know, I'm not, but this is my proposal, that rather than refusing this application, chair, my other colleagues will speak if they want to, if they have got any question, but this is my thing that we should look the wider work they're doing. They're doing excellent job. If you see here, I'm not, some of work that's so much needed in the community, especially in the Asian community, women and toddler coffee mornings, right? I do surgeries every Saturday. Women are scared to come out and speak. And this is the place they have got to come somewhere, speak to somebody. coffee mornings. I was running coffee morning in Manor Park, and I know what benefit coffee morning does to the community. Therefore, my request is through you, Chair, that rather than refusing this application, this organization is up and running, right? Up and running. We haven't received any complaint. So we should approve this application. If we want, we can put some condition. If we want, you can have 6 months observation on them. I don't think so we'll receive any complaint because we haven't received any complaint since 2002. I've spoken too long, Chair, but I've said it's not question, but my proposal is to approve this application today because this organization is doing good community work and especially put pressure on women coffee mornings.
We can come back to potential proposals. I'm going to take a question from Councillor Hack, come back to officers for any questions and follow up, and then we can do another round of questions, and then depending on questions to officers or beyond, we can then move to proposals and see where we get to. So Councillor Hack.
Thank you, Chair. Since I agree with the points that my previous speakers in the committee have made, and as an elected member, we are all, when it comes to community work or something like that, we have something to look forward for that, because there are a lot of things which council is providing, but we need the support of the community. We need the support of community workers to come forward and deliver those services in the community. Now, I've seen this, whatever the couple of points that was opposed by the officers, since we have come forward and willingly said that they are happy to amend that, like the bank holiday and things like that. Also, I've seen that community center, that the community center is based, there are a few shops beside there as well. And those shops are receiving deliveries in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. I pass by sometimes, so I've seen that one as well. So even though it's not in the high street, but there are shops beside the community center. And as Councillor Patel has said that we have not received any complaints so far since 2020. Have you received any complaint regarding the operational activities of the community center? We haven't. So that means the community is supporting, the whole community is supporting the activities that is happening in the community center. And another point in terms of numbers, the numbers are already not too high. It's a very small number that they are going to support, but even though it's not very high, but we are supporting at least 14, 15 families through that work that they are doing. So I would completely second the proposal made by Councillor Patel to the officers to please think about it, as they have come forward to amend some of the conditions and we work together for the betterment of the society. That's from my side.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll come to Eric and Samir if you have anything to follow up on. But Eric, any response to some of the questions and comments of councillors?
Yeah, so we welcome the amendments proposed by the agents and the applicants. For the one removing the alterations on bank holidays, we welcome that amendments because that will definitely mitigate some of the concerns about the impacts on the neighboring amenities, especially on bank holidays. Or another amendments to reduce the starting time to 5 a.m. Looking into the whole proposal and the context of the neighboring shops or the character of the surrounding area, 5 a.m. would still be considered a bit too early for the proposed the operating hours for the community center. And also there is no details provided a management plan or something information about that. So we will still require some more details and management plan about the schedules on how that will work to mitigate the potential impacts on neighboring amenities.
Can I jump in? Real
Yeah,
quick?
please.
'Cause I know a few of you have been talking about the early morning deliveries now. I just want to confirm that the opening hours / operating hours, that technically means the hours that the doors are open to the public. So say if you take like a shop or any other establishment, you can do deliveries outside of those operating hours. I think our concern is that say if we approve the 4 AM start, that means that activities could start at 4 in the morning, and then there may be some knock-on impacts that deliveries to service that may encroach early into the morning. So it's by granting the 4 AM start, that means that the venue can be used, whereas deliveries, they're not subject to the operating opening hours, they can be done outside of them.
Okay. Move to Councillor Solicitor and then Councillor Rahman. I can see Councillor Cronin, Councillor Falola, and then I'll come back to the front.
Thank you.
Actually, you answered my question regarding amendments. You had a look, yeah, at those amendments that were done by organization. So can I make like a few statements regarding this application? I'm speaking now to support this application. First of all, I work as a teacher in a school, and I know that for many children, it's the only opportunity to have lunch is in school. So I thank you so much for your passion and Zain speaking about this so passionately, because now I will become.
Mom.
So
Yeah.
they are not asking for anything. They're actually eager to deliver. So usually what people do, they ask council, give us this, do this, do this. They say, give us the opportunity to help, to deliver, to feed those vulnerable residents who don't have that opportunity to have normal meals a day. So thank you so much for this. And also, look, this organization does everything like to work in cooperation. They don't say, oh, we don't do this. Look how many statements they brought. They brought letters from residents. So before coming here, they asked residents who live nearby and who live opposite, is it okay if we do this, if we extend these hours? And so they were communicating with council, with residents, and they're doing their best to support vulnerable residents. So I definitely, I support this permission, this application, and I myself as a council, I can go, I can have a look, and if I don't like something, I will be the first to come to them and to say, okay, why don't you do this? Why something must be changed? So let's give them the opportunity. And personally, I, as a council and as a resident of Newham, I think that we need more organizations like this. So I really thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Rahman.
Actually, my colleagues, all of them is already covered lots of things, but I don't think why we shouldn't support this. We, from the council, we consulted 42 properties and we get 0 response against. Whatever we got is all the responses in favor of this. And as Councillor Selim mentioned, we didn't have any previous complaint regarding their noisiness or anything. So I think I depend on Selim Bai's proposal, or what can I do as the committee members? They're willing to work with the councillors and the officers. They can go back and come with the, we can defer this application for next meeting for the proposal, and find the solution, how they can come with the solution. And we need to approve this because we want this kind of community work to be done there.
Okay, we can come back to your proposal. Councillor Cronin.
And thank you for your presentations. Just 2 questions, if that's all right. So the first is there a rough estimate of how many residents it would affect? And what type of effect that would be? As we've discussed, kinds of deliveries at 1 in the morning with a huge industrial van is very different prospect than 1 car delivering a weekly shop at 5 in the morning. So number of residents affected, And then what kind of recourse is there? Say, you know, they've made a lot of efforts to ameliorate some of the issues. So if we go ahead and approve without any conditions, and then some residents do come forward and complain, is that then a normal council noise issue handled in that way, which can take our own time? Or is there a planning mechanism that we can use to pull it back into the planning system, for example?
Good question.
Eric.
All right. So the first question about the impacts to neighboring, like the residents live nearby. As I mentioned in the presentation, there will be like 15 to 20 people alongside with the staff members arriving into the application sites at the early morning. Therefore, the increase in coming and goings in those early morning hours will definitely result in some sort of noise and disturbance to the residents living nearby or just on the street. And that will be like the major concerns regarding the impacts on neighboring amenities. And the second.
What was your second question?
Yeah, sorry.
About recourse, so if we approve without any conditions tonight and then still going forward, is that something that we then look at again with a planning mechanism, or is it the normal process?
It would end up being more process under environmental health. So I think the mechanism for all of this has been the hours of operation, because the initial application in 2019, was it, had hours of operation. They were then changed in 2021. That been expanded again. So the hours of operation that use like a mitigation process. So whilst there is noise, it will be in a confined period during the day.
Okay, Councillor Falola.
Thank you. Just to the officer. I know you don't agree with the time of opening. What is your ideal time of opening? What is your ideal time of closing? And not only that, have we had any complaint from the resident around that place? Not them, who was complained about noise and cage or something before, without receiving deliveries or during the operation time?
Thank you for the question. So with the provided like schedules, we can see there's no session happen before 6 a.m. So there should be like a stronger justification on to start earlier than 6 a.m. or any proposed sessions from the organization. And we also noticed that we haven't received any objection comments during the public consultation period. However, we cannot guarantee that there will not be any like complaint or impacts happen in the future, because when we like approve these amendments, then we cannot like redo the approved amendments on the operation hours in the future. So yeah.
Okay, is a supplementary, Councillor Falola?
That's fine.
No. Councillor Hussain, Councillor Patel and Councillor Mercer.
All right, today I want to speak here as a councillor, especially also as a resident of Neom, because living in this borough, we can see how people are suffering every day. So I think this kind of little help or activities is really support our health and mental health. We are seeing what kind of activities this community center doing and asking time for. So I believe supporting this kind of permission or application is not is key for the community. Starting a good morning means starting a good day and good life. So coffee morning for women and toddler, or for adults, like as applicant said, yoga, other health like exercise activities. So I do believe we should reflect what we are asking for. And another thing is time for, like, if it's an issue of 5 o'clock, already corner shop opening time is 5 o'clock. So actually I don't see much interruption or disturbance for residents around there. And they do have lots of supporting letters. So I think we really should reflect, because we here as a councillor, as officers, everyone's goal is have a better life, like supporting for others, for betterment, So I just think and believe we should support this application, and I'm asking through my chair to the officers.
Councillor Patel.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, on page 31, if you see the photograph in color, this one's there. I think the right adjacent residents are 1, 2, and 3. I think if you see this letter, we have received at least 9 supporting letters, right? With different, and if you see those addresses are here as well. Sorry, Chair.
Can I view them, because we've only received 4?
Sorry? Yeah, got you. Yeah, you have received 4, I've seen, yeah. But today, additionally, we have received some more. That's why I'm saying. So I think noise and nuisance 5 o'clock in the morning, I don't think so will affect that much. That can be a reason for refusal, Chair. Can be a reason.
Thank you, Chair, giving me opportunity to speak again. My request to my fellow councillors, committee members, it's up to us to approve the application. This is an officer's recommendation, but it's up to us to approve the application or reject the application. What I can see, the sentiment, we all in a supportive of this application, as we understand is something doing good for the community. I think we should go ahead with the vote without a condition and without any, subject to the already approved. And they mentioned 5 o'clock or the bank holiday. We shouldn't defer this application. We should approve this application without any condition, Chair. Thank you.
Councillor Huck.
Thank you, Chair. One thing is the sentiment that we all have towards our community, which is fine. And but looking at the other side, the concerns that has been raised, I personally believe that all has been addressed.
Exactly.
If the concern was enough that the community is getting affected, then it could have been deferred or could have been rejected. But because the concerns is addressed, I'm very sure I've seen a couple of shops that get Google with the opening does not match what the application is getting refused. Also, I've just checked in Google, there are a couple of bus stops, maybe 100 yards on the left and the right. 15 to 20 people coming in, making noise. I believe that's a concern.
Okay.
So people are taking the bus and coming off the bus. That's also making noise. It's the main road. So on the basis of concerns, I believe that has been addressed. We should support the application.
Okay, I will comment and say, even with the amendments which have been put forward by the applicants, which shows a good sign that they're willing to work with officers, perhaps we should go to a deferral for officers to work with the applicants to get this to an approval. We look at all aspects of the application, including the amendments and any potential conditions, simply because as councillors, we know that when conditions aren't applied, we are often at the brunt of it, and planning applications still need to go through a process. So before I take any questions, I want to hear from Jane, and I can see you indicating, but come in.
Yes, thank you. Just totally agree with what you've just said, Chair. I think we've got a bit of a confused picture here where the application was for opening at 4 a.m. and what we've been talking is opening at 5 a.m. So I think we need to get more information from the applicants, including a management strategy about how they're going to deal with deliveries and so on. And it would also be possible for us to give a temporary permission as a trial run to make sure that there weren't any amenity issues, because if we allow it without conditions and there is a problem, and remember the planning permission runs with the land, not with the applicant, then we wouldn't really have very much recourse for action. So I think a deferral for us to work with the applicants to clarify these issues is the right way to go about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. So who'd like to propose a deferral?
Yeah, sorry to if you defer, right, it will take more of the officer's time and it will delay a community project, and it might cost the applicant, which runs based purely on donations and charity. What I suggest, Chair, and I would like to move a motion as well to approve this application on condition we can observe them for 6 months. And if they won't comply, and if we receive any complaint, then we can take actions against them. But I prefer to approve this application today, saving officers' time and money for the organization. This money coming from local community, middle-class community, who work so hard day in, day out to feed the children, plus supporting this sort of organizations. I move the motion, Chair. We wait for the members to vote to approve this application on conditions today. Thank you.
Before I move to the vote, I want to check with Jane and especially with you, Alexander, just on that.
Sorry, Chair. Yep, and through you, just to sort of clarify on a motion to overturn an officer recommendation, as we have potentially here, the vote, if it does overturn, would go to a deferral rather than a approval. So it would defer the matter to enable officers to consider a revised report, consider planning conditions, and consider the sort of the matter in the round with the committee view that there's a desire to approve. So we would be looking at a deferral, even if the vote was to support.
So we would still get
an overturn, yes.
So there'd be no approval, there would be a deferral.
It would be a deferral, correct, Chair.
Thank you very much. I want to take questions from Councillor Mirza, then Councillor Hack and Councillor Falola.
So clarification about the deferral. How long this process going to take? Because obviously they're struggling already, and application has been there for a very long time. And there's about 12 of councillors sitting here, about 8-9 members of the public, 5 or 6 officers sitting here. So don't you consider that this time is valuable? You know, we've been here for a very long time, and it's not a rocket science. There is application there. There's a condition. They report what their concerns was, and they proposed the 5 o'clock time, and they have given up the bank holiday. I can't see the reason of deferral. I think the application should be approved, and if it's going to be deferral, what is the process going to take, and how long is going to take? Thank you, Chair.
I think the answer should probably set out one, our legal basis and probably our policy, and
Thank you.
2, set out how long. the process can take potentially. So who would like to go first? Alexander, you'd like to set out the, I guess, the legal side of things.
Sorry, Chair, set out the legal side of the deferral. So it's a constitutional sort of safeguard, and it is triggered in the event of a committee motion to overturn an officer recommendation, as we have here.
Thank you very much. And to officers, if you'd like to answer in terms of the process that it would take in terms of length of time for the applicant to amend the application.
Sure, answer.
Yeah,
So from our side, we'll get back to discussions with the applicant, so we can hopefully tomorrow, even to start things going. And then I would advise if we can get things like the open hours, maybe clarification of creating open hours, because I understand that you want time just for people to get in and set up. That's not counted in the opening hours, so we can negotiate on that, and then if we can get an operational management plan or succinct ones, then that can also alleviate the concerns of potential complaints. Because I understand the queries about not having complaints, but that's because it hasn't operated in these new hours. So at least if we can mitigate that head first, then that would alleviate any future complaints.
Thank you. That sounds very clear. Councillor Hack, Councillor Falola, and Councillor Hack, and then we will move to a proposal, and then we can move to the vote. Councillor Hack.
Chair, can we hear from the organizers what Mr. Sab just mentioned, what they have to say, and then we can know that.
We can, if you're proposing it, so the applicant or supporter, I'd like to speak, the agent.
They should.
Better just respond to what officers have said.
Question is like, you have heard what we have said, and you have heard what the officers have said legally and what we are doing. So on that basis, what you have to say on this.
I mean, thank you to the officer for clarifying the legal position on this. If a vote to approve the application will lead to a deferral, then we're more than happy to work with officers. We've worked with all three officers before on previous applications. We'd be more than happy to work with them to prepare the necessary documents that they're asking for. I mean, we did prepare a supporting statement, but clarifying these matters, but if we need to go in deeper and prepare a dedicated management plan, we can do that as well, but we'd be happy to work with officers.
Sure. Sorry, Chair, can I add to that? Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll be quick. I think, just want to say a few things just quickly about the area as well. I mean, right opposite where the station is, right opposite where the community centre is, there's a fire brigade station. So if you've sat there for more than 7 minutes, you'll hear the sirens go off. And that's throughout the whole, it's throughout the whole time and so forth. So, and just, I don't know if you know, but the letters that were sent that where I think, where you said the concerns were upstairs, all the residents upstairs, not only that, the opposite as well. So nearly, you've got it 360 covered in that sense. I just want to talk about the funding aspect of it, right? We're really struggling. Sorry, we're struggling. We're having to put money in our pockets as well, to really. And if there is a way for this to be approved today, we'd really like it to be approved. We'd like to stick to 5 o'clock. That is absolute must. We've compromised with everything, and thank you for your guidance. So I really request that if we can approve it today, you're going to do your legal paperwork. We totally understand with that, but if we can speed up the process without being rude, we're running out of finance.
I think we've heard from Alexander, our legal planning officer, who stated a vote for approval would still lead to a deferral. So you still end up back working with officers. A vote for a deferral would be a deferral anyway. So I think we are slightly going back and round in circles now. So either it's going to be a deferral, which I would like to guide my members towards voting for a deferral so that you can get the necessary paperwork and work with the officers in terms of your compliance, or a vote for an approval, which will be a deferral, which you'll still end up back working with officers. Councillor Cronin.
That's the question, but so our options are right.
Or deferral.
There's no mechanism for us to.
Constitutionally, from our legal team, we do not have.
I want to further clarify that function. So what we heard from Alexandra, that even if the committee approves this application,
It would be deferred.
still go to defer.
Yes.
So there is no point even to approve it. Like if we approve it, it's not going to approve it straight
No,
away.
it would still be deferred.
One more clarification, Chair. I've heard the legal officer saying if we approve tonight, still it will be deferred.
Yes.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, if we approve tonight, still it will be deferred. This is the legal term. But as we have heard from the applicant as well, you have from my colleague, Councillor Mirza, that time as well. If we make a decision today, and if officers has already offered to the applicant that from tomorrow, both the parties will start moving forward towards making this application a success application. Will it possible that rather than coming back to the committee, because you have heard the view of the members, this is not a business application, this is not a developer's application, this is not an application who's going to generate finance for a company or anything. This application is for the people. We can see that we are here for the people. So rather than bringing back to the committee, and I'm sure it's not going to be next month, it's not going to be in December. It might go up to 2026, you never know, because the application, and we don't want other application to be moved backward and forward because they all want the application to be resolved. So rather than, we can agree that from tomorrow, both the parties will start working. I'm finding the solution because this is an application for the community. That's why we are arguing it. Otherwise, we appreciate your hard work and everything. But what I've seen today here, it's pure community need, pure community need. My missus is the teacher as well. And she knows how children feel when they come without breakfast to the school. And when teacher offer a biscuit or something, they're very happy. Some parents bring their children for the breakfast club because they can't afford breakfast. We all know that story. So, rather than delaying all this good work, okay, I can understand, I accept, I leave my hand to the law. This is a policy. But can we just speed up this process and get this application approved
Without here.
without coming back to the committee?
I'm going to ask Jane to come in here.
Yes, just to say that the application would have to come back to committee. So there isn't any way that we could, that could not happen. And I think the cleanest thing to do is to defer the application with a view to officers working on amended hours of opening, an operational management plan, and potential for a temporary permission, because that sets the parameters for what we would be negotiating on. And clearly we would try and work with the applicant in as timely a manner as possible.
Okay. Any supplementary? I'm going to take two supplementaries due to time, Councillor Mirza and then Councillor Pat. Councillor Singh. And then Councillor Singh.
Thank you, Chair. My question is with the legal officer, Alexander. What is the role of the members if we don't have even a right to prove an application? Are we just going to be sitting here and, we have to listen to the officer's recommendation? If we don't agree, then it will go back to the officers and they are the only people who make the decision on the behalf of the communities, or do we have any role at all? So, I have proposed the motion for approving this application, refusing the officer's recommendation, and approving this application subject to 5 o'clock opening and bank holiday closing, and without any further condition. So do we have any right, or we just have to rely on the officer's recommendation? Thank you, Chair.
I will ask Jane, if you can come back on that, and Alexander, if you've got any feedback on that question.
I think the issue here is that that isn't what's being applied for. So if they want to go for different hours of operation, then we would have to assess that and carry out further consultation. So, you know, it's unfortunate because if these alternative hours are being proposed earlier in the process, we could have kind of worked from that point. So, you know, what is being suggested tonight isn't what's in the planning application. So there's a process that would need to be gone through.
Thank you very much, Jane.
Alex?
Yeah, and just in terms of sort of members' input in relation to the determination of decisions, yes, it's massively important. Yes, it's sort of considered, as in this case, it is what members have said and members' will is being considered, and it dictates how officers present and amend a sort of a report that is going to come back and be suitable with the necessary conditions that sort of will make the application acceptable in the future. So the members' will is being considered and is being fed into a future report that will be brought back, which officers will consider appropriate for approval for the circumstances to enable the application to be approved as sought by members. So the importance of members is paramount to the decision making, if that assists.
Thank you very much, Alex. And just to put it in, I guess, in layman's terms, we can only apply rules to the application in front of us, not how we would wish it to be. I'm going to take a question from Councillor Imam Haq, come to Councillor Hussain, and then I would propose that we move to the vote and for a member to suggest how they would like to propose to go forward. So Councillor Haq and then Councillor Hussain, and then we should move to a proposal.
Thank you, Chair. What I understood correctly, what Alexander has said, that we are here to vote, not our vote is not the decision, but it's a future recommendation or future direction. That's what I understood. Am I right, Chair?
That's what Alexander implied, and that's what he stated. I believe, Alexander, is that what you meant? And decisions tonight?
The will of the committee is being followed. That's how I view it. It's not as straightforward as simply voting and then approving. There is a sort of a process that we are sort of going through. Want to sort of safeguard members, safeguard the sort of the application, safeguard the effects on the wider community, and that is the path that is being followed.
Thank you, Councillor Hussain. So you want to
very quickly? So, Chair.
Is it the same point?
I understand. I'm very sorry, Chair. Very my apologies. But because it's related to the community, we have so many emotions attached, and we have to show what we are doing for the community. Community need to understand what we are voting for, what not. So sorry. Just
okay. If you would like to make one last point, then I have to move to the next member.
So if let's say the development happened, do we have a time scale? Because we have heard the funding need to be done. The funding, they are affected. If the funds are not there, then they have to start again to provide this vital services within the community. And if what I understood correctly, and that's one question and just related to that. If my approval today, and I'm talking about myself, if my approval today is going for deferment anyway, I will approve the application and will stand with the community. So this is a very vital services. So that's my question and I'll stay. Thank you.
understand that. However, we can't vote for an approval because that would just still lead to a deferral. But Councillor Hussain,
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I support my colleague Councillor Salim and Imam's statement and proposal. I also believe we should approve this application because we as a councillor, we face daily and see people, how they suffer. So we are here to support people and the community, and we believe we should approve this. And another thing is really make me feel like if our vote doesn't count anything, so why we're here then? I understand law. Yeah, I do respect, with all due respect, still, like, they're all whole committee, actually, I can see that everyone trying to speak favor of this project. Still, it seems like I'm nothing here. We are nothing here. With all due respect, law and officers.
thank you. Councillor Cronin.
Yeah, just if this happens again, so officers come forward after the deferment and say, we still think that you shouldn't approve this, and then we again vote to approve, what's the back and forth? How is that resolved?
Officers would like to.
I think we will negotiate with the applicant to make sure we don't return to that.
Okay.
Chair. I'm.
Chair, the last, I need to propose something for the motion.
I'm afraid we're not going to take any more questions. I think we should move to a proposal.
So,
The kind of scale of the.
Timescale. I think the question about timescale was,
yes, I have asked before.
and I think officers agree. You'll start.
Chair,
No, but what's the time?
are we voting on my motion?
Entire projects. In the
Yeah,
entire.
conversation will start tomorrow, but what's the time scale of getting it approved?
That's guarantee, like, we can start, we can aim for next month or the month after, but we want to get it done as soon as possible.
Can I just check, what do you mean for approval? I'm confused
Get
here.
the timescale for it to approve.
Before for approval,
So are they, sorry, I'm just very confused here. The committee are voting for approval and is this?
It hasn't been voted yet, but it needs to be.
It hasn't been voted yet. What will happen, even if the committee were to vote for an approval tonight, it would still be deferred, which would still be brought back to the committee.
We understand, Chair, but if it's vote for approval, which is vote for approval, then it's if
It would
it's,
still be deferred.
yeah, deferred for approval. That's
Work with the officers.
deferred for approval, yes.
yes,
If it's voted tonight, I'm just saying, then it makes sense and we can work to a peace of mind. We can budget because we're running out of money here. And that's all it is, Chair.
Chair, last question. Chair, my proposal was to approve this application, but we have heard from the.
An approval leads to a deferral, yeah.
I think, would you mind to take my motion and take the vote, and you can see the will of the members. I know it's going to be defer after the approval, but I think for the future reference, as been told to us.
If you'd like to
Bill.
propose your
Yeah,
motion,
it's the will,
take a vote.
it's the will of the members. We have to respect the members, what they are saying. I can completely understand. I think the applicant have understand as well, that if we vote for approval, it will still be different. But the officers and the applicant will start engaging from tomorrow, and they try to finish ASAP, and they bring it hopefully in the next, I try best, I'm not pushing pressure or anything, but requesting to bring into the next. But I think, Chair, we should see the will of the members, what they're willing tonight. So it's my motion is to vote for the approval. I know it's going to be different, but I'm proposing.
Chair, can I propose a counter motion, please? Yes, I've got a right to do that as well. I
haven't heard the first motion.
Yes, it's similar, but it's a little bit different. I would propose the motion to look into the application as it is. Because if we go back to the different timings, it will take a lot of time. Can we approve this application as it is from the 4 o'clock till 11 o'clock, and regardless of bank holidays? Because that's what the only amendment they have made. So just to save the time for the officers and ours and the, you know, for the public as well, and the funds as well, approve this application as it is without going back to the, you know,
Time.
referral and, you know, deferral and approval. Thank you. That's my proposal.
It will go to deferral.
Yes.
So that will be approved motion.
Yeah.
That will go for the process for a deferral. That means your application is approved, and if you're going for a deferral for the process to take out.
Future approval of the application.
Yeah, or as application has been submitted. Thank you.
Officers, would you like to respond and provide any clarity here?
It would still need to be deferred and come back to committee.
That's fine.
So it wouldn't save any time.
That's fine.
So we can move the motion
So you can move it.
approval
Yeah.
as it is, and then officers and off.
Yeah.
Yep, so I move the motion,
I second that.
I second that.
I don't know which one you moving it.
the same one.
The same one which I move.
I think
Okay.
let's clarify. So
Yeah.
state the motion that you're stating for the record and
Yeah.
for everyone at home and also for legal.
Yeah.
To state the motion, and then we'll take the seconder, and then the committee will vote on it, just so that we're clear about what we're voting on.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Councillor Patel.
Chair. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would like to propose the motion to accept the application. Right? The officers and the applicant can engage from tomorrow. If applicant's okay with the timing and all that, that's between officers and the applicant. That will save a lot of time for consultation and all that. So I would like to propose the motion to accept the application as is been in this agenda. And then officers and applicant can
Okay.
start the
Thank you, Chair.
discussion.
I second the motion and reject the officers' suggestions to refuse the motion. Thank you.
Okay. And does the committee approve the motion which has been submitted by Councillor Patel, seconded by Councillor Mirza? Show of hands. Okay, so that's been that motion, which has now been deferred.
Deferred, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
So-
At least,
Application is
I
deferred.
would like to thank officer for their hard work. There's nothing by the officer, but we just trying to.
All roads, they said, led to Rome, and all roads have led to the deferral. So thank you all very much. That's no announcements. Next meeting is the 24th of November, 2025. Very much, and good night.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much.